no, I got some smaller shows, but the clubs are starting to open back up in Michigan, which is great. So I have an appearance at my home club at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase coming up, and
Nice.
it's coming up, I think, in December. So I'm really excited about that. That's my home club, and so hopefully things will open up more and more. And like I said, I do a lot of cruise ships as well, and those are kind of looking like maybe in the spring, hopefully. And you talk about bombing, that's the worst place to bomb because you bomb and then you run into the same people on the ship. You know what I mean? Like you bomb in a club, you're like, all right, at least I never have to see those people again. Then like on the ship, they're like, isn't that the guy? You're like in the cafeteria
in the buffet line. Anytime you hear about somebody falling off a cruise ship, that's just a comic that is abandoned his post.
How does that work? How does the cruise ship work? Like you're on there for a week or a couple of days? And then how many times do you perform?
It kind of depends on the contract, but usually it's like 2 or 3 weeks, and so but it's a different cruise each week.
Oh, okay, right.
Unless you're like I went out to like Europe, and that was the same crowd for like 2 weeks, and so like you end up doing probably like 5 or 6 shows a week. You do like 2 in a theater, a couple in a comedy club, and like I said, for the most part, they're just jacked up. They're excited. They're on vacation, so usually the crowds are good. But the one in Europe was kind of funny because, like, same thing. Talk about bombing. Like they have these like production shows on the ship, and they were doing this circus, but the waves were so bad. They're like, we gotta cancel this because people are like throwing knives. They don't want anybody getting hurt. So everybody's like seated for the circus, and they're like, are you guys ready for a great show? And everybody starts clapping, and they go, well, we're so sorry, it's been canceled, and we're gonna bring out a comedian now. And I kind of jog up like, hi, and everybody's just like, oh, we don't want to see this guy.
They're so disappointed.
So I'm just up there just bombing, like you feel like flop sweat. I'm just like, so anyways, you guys.
We saw Beningo last night.
I start like. Material's just eating it, so I start going into the crowd. I'm like, hey, sir, how are you? And this guy is just, like, staring at me. And I'm just kind of like, hey, man, what's, you don't want to talk to me? And it turns out nobody knew English. Like, half the crews.
Oh, man.
So it's like, you can watch a show like The Circus and not need English. But, like, I'm just up there bombing. And then it's like, again, it's over. You're like, I'm just going to hide in my room. And then the next morning at breakfast, people are kind of pointing like, isn't that the chubby guy that was bombing?
Even in another language, the chubby guy that was bombing hurts.
That's the worst. That's when you just want to stay in your cabin and not go on. That's why when you do a cruise ship, make sure you perform on the last night of the cruise.
Right, that's it, man.
I had a comment.